Down, and this is the Eubank Jr. versus Liam Williams post-fight reaction. Now, big up to everybody, first of all, that was about to join the chat. Shout out to you guys. This is my episode of Fan Talk. So all of you lot that want to join in, give your opinion on the fight, let me know, and I'll share the link with you, and we could get talking about it, man. Where do we start? A very weird fight. Let me just say that first of all. Excuse me. Had to sneeze there. A very strange fight, man. Weird. It was weird. Eubank Jr. for me should have really ended this a lot sooner. It shouldn't have gone to points. The way how he had Williams going, I thought that, he was en route to having a very impressive performance. But unbelievably, he allowed Liam Williams to get back into the fight despite dropping him 4 times en route to a decision win. So let's talk about it tonight, man. Big up all you guys, first of all. I want to hear what you guys think about the fight, your opinions of it. I'm just left here kind of like just wondering, like, what, first of all, let's just get straight into it, man. The build-up was very entertaining. On the way to the ring, the crowd were pumped, as we all expected. We knew that this was going to be a hot atmosphere. We know that these two guys don't like each other. And so we knew from the off that this was going to be a fiery battle. Liam Williams started well in that first round. I thought that he was pressing the action very well. He was sticking his jab out there. Eubank doesn't have a very good defense at all. This Roy Jones Jr. impression that he's trying to do is just not it. It's not it for me at all, man. But listen, I think he's just conserving his energy. He is getting older. And I think we saw that in the fight today. I think we saw, Eubank would normally unleash with hella combinations. We didn't really see that today. We saw more Eubank Jr. on the back foot, trying to, there were times where I was just like shaking my head, man. He had his hands out like how Roy used to have his hands out. But, at the beginning of the fight, it was working for him. Do you know what I mean? He dropped Liam Williams in the first round, the second round, the 4th round, and the 11th round. He dropped him all 4 of those rounds. And I just thought, yeah, get him out of there. Stop playing with your dinner. Do you know what I mean? Get him out of there. But he couldn't do it. Liam Williams done very well to bring himself back into the fight. And he made this closer than it should have been. He did, he did Liam Williams fight very well. He did respond well after getting knocked down. But, Chris Eubank Jr., man, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed, man. And like I said, this is going to be fan talk. So all you guys that want to join in, feel free to let me know. I'll share the link. I'll give it out to you guys to join. We've already got one guy here. I'm going to get him in, but let me just read the comments. Shout out to my bro Harvey. First of all, he's put, yo, evening, bro. What a strange performance from the corner shop. Jones Jr. Yeah, the Poundland. Roy Jones Jr., man. I mean, this ain't it. The Triple Gs and all that. Triple G right now, he would have destroyed Eubank. Do you know what I mean? Like, that defense was all over the place. And a good jab will just get, it will always be the key to beating Eubank. Liam Williams could have done it. If he managed to stay on his feet, easier said than done, he would have really had a shout in there. But, he couldn't do it. You got to give credit for Eubank for those knockdowns. I think the 4th knockdown looked like a bit of a push. But, he did knock Williams down. He was a bit chinny in that fight there. His punch resistance seems to have gone. WM has put here, I'm not impressed at all with Eubank. Williams was clearly shot. Shout out to my bro Francisco in the building. Harvey said here the Eubank of old would have stopped him. I agree. WM has said here if Williams has an ounce of power, he would have dropped Eubank, who he caught flush on the chin many a time. Dave Boy Green has said here Eubank couldn't finish it. Yeah, I agree. He couldn't finish it. He couldn't finish it. It wasn't all that. I think the taunting and everything else was really a smokescreen. I think that he was really tired in there and he wasn't able to finish it. So I'm with you there, Dave Boy Green, totally. But listen, let's get one of the guys up in here. Shout out to my bro Ian Hamilton in the building. What are you saying, bro? What did you think of that fight, man? Talk to me.
Evening, Daryl. It's been a while.
Has been a while.
You know what? That fight proved to me once and for all why Eubank isn't a world champion. Simple as that. Put it this way: if that was let's say the heavyweight division, if AJ had a guy like that, would he do that and let it go that long? He'd finish him. Canelo, Triple G would finish a guy after that period of time. I was watching it with my dad, and he started the fight cheering for Eubank, and then in the middle of it, he then cheered for Williams because he just couldn't stand the prancing around by Eubank. But I mean, if he blitzed, I thought to myself, if he doesn't blitz him in the sixth, it's gonna go to a decision because then Williams will start getting into it, and I should have put a bet on because I would have won some dosh on that. But I mean, first 6 rounds, Eubank was doing everything I was thinking, and then he just it's like he just couldn't be bothered to get. It's like he was doing okay, I'll let you have the honor of going 12 with me. I mean, you know what the thing is, he's got a kind of delusional arrogance which it can get you far, but it can land you. It can make you look silly, which is why he hasn't become a world champion yet. I mean, that's the way I see it, but you know, it's a case of what other people say.
What do you think? What do you think should be next for Eubank then after that? I mean, he's talking about the big fights and everything else, but like, I mean,
well,
where would you like to see him go? I mean, they've spoke about Triple G. Would you like to see that?
The thing is well, because he seems to be the de facto face of Sky Boxing, they'll be trying to push that. It's Triple G, despite how old he is, Triple G can still whack. I mean, it's not like Triple G's can't punch anymore. Okay, he's not the Triple G who wrecked for everybody that we all remember from years ago, but it's still Triple G. After that, I'd still have Triple G maybe putting because again, we've never seen Eubank really dazed or hit hard or really like, and you know, Triple G again, he can whack hard. He can whack.
Yeah.
But I would give Eubank more of a chance, but you know, don't do the prancing around and all that. Like, if you're Roy Jones Jr., just tell him, like, if you have a guy hurt, just finish him off. I mean, he's got Roy Jones in there. At least Roy Jones did that kind of thing. But as you would remember when you remember watching Roy Jones Jr., he finished a guy off. Yeah. He would finish a guy off. He wanted to hurt somebody, finish him off. I mean, you know, it was solid enough. But you know, if you want the big fights, at least finish your opponent off.
Yeah. At first, I thought, is Eubank just playing with his dinner? Is he just playing with his food? But then as the fight wore on, I'm thinking to myself, maybe he can't get him out of there.
Yeah, true.
Maybe he can't get Liam Williams out of there. Like, he dropped him all those times. But, you know, the old Eubank, as I saw from some of the comments earlier, the old Eubank would have really put them punches together. We didn't really see that. He was conserving energy. He was taunting a lot. And, you know, he didn't get the guy out of there.
Yeah, it was... I thought that as well because I watched a lot. I was at a few Eubank fights in the first half of his career before this new change, and he was more tenacious and more spiteful. And I just, you know, I mean, again, was it Addy that said it, that he's caught between two styles of trying to be his dad and trying to be Roy Jones? I mean, no problem trying to be Roy Jones, but no, there's only one Roy Jones Jr. But again, you know. Yeah, I mean, you make a good point there. He would have finished him off in his early career. It's kind of like, well, where was I think I said before. I said to myself before that it was always going to be about which Eubank turns up. If it's the old Eubank, he blitzes him early. If it's the Eubank of now, he'll just take a 12 just to give him the honor of going to 12.
Totally agree, man. Last point from you on this. Let me know where you rank that performance from Eubank Jr. I mean, out of 10. And who, if you could matchmake, who would you like to see in minutes? Would it be a 39 or 38-year-old Triple G? There are other fighters there in the middleweight division. You've got Billy Joe Saunders here domestically, if he's still fighting, that is, of course. There is Felix Cash. I don't know if he'll go there. But, I mean, who would you like to see Eubank Jr. in with next?
Well, on your first question, if he finished him early, I would have given it an 8 or a 9, but because he pranced around and did that, I will give it a close to 6 or 7. I'll be nice. I'll give it a 7 because you still got the job done, but you kind of, you know, you just pranced around for the whole fight. What next? You mentioned, you know, good God, that's the first time I've heard Billy Joe Saunders in my head for a long time now. I mean, I would say go down that route, get your win back on him if you're that better than him, and let's be honest, I mean, when Billy Joe Saunders is now in the ring, we all know what he does, but I just think, you know, like, you know, they talk. It's the only fight that I think would get Billy Joe Saunders going. So I think, yeah, run that back. I would say run that back if you want Triple G again. Because, you know, if Triple G's watching that, he's going to think, really? People want me to fight him? You know? So, yeah, I'd say Billy Joe Saunders is the only one that stands out to me in terms of prove yourself. Prove you're a new guy now. Because he's talking about being a new fighter now. Well, go and prove it. Beat the guy who beat you on a split decision when you didn't do anything in the first 6 rounds. That's what I would have him do. If I'm Sky, put him in with Billy Joe Saunders next. See how that goes.
Big up, Ian, man. Thank you for joining, man. We've got some people waiting, so I'm going to get someone else on. But appreciate your opinions every single time. And we'll catch up soon, my bro.
Yeah, no problem, mate. And I love your dad when he goes on Canelo. It's just always amusing.
I'm gonna see if he's around. I'm gonna see if I could get his post. See if I can get him on the channel tonight and get his
Yeah,
post reaction to this as well. I think hopefully he doesn't mention Canelo, but you don't know. He manages to find a way to bring Canelo in everything. So I
I
don't
wait
know.
with bated breath, like when is he gonna find a way? Oh, here he goes.
Yeah. We'll see. But now, Ian, appreciate
Thanks.
you, bro, and we'll catch up soon, my man.
Yeah, great, mate.
Take care, man. Bye.
Right.
Big up to my bro Ian Hamilton there, man, for real. Just seeing some of you guys' comments. Ash is saying here that was a 6 out of 10. Big up Army of Two Music. He put here Williams lost. That's it. Yeah, we know that. And he's put here Eubank toyed with him. Well, to an extent he did, but it was closer than it should have been. Army of Two Music. That's what I'm saying. Ash is saying here it sounds ridiculous, but it wasn't a good performance. Yeah, I mean, if you were to just read this, like just read the report, and you saw that, Eubank had knocked Williams down 4 times, you'd be like, that's a great performance, man. But yeah, you just expected more with how the fight started. I mean, and how he could have ended it. Maybe we're asking for too much, but I just think that the way how you had him going in there, it shouldn't have really got to this, really. But yeah, shout out to Ash here. He's put here, yeah, try and get Laurie on for a quick reaction. The fresh reactions are always the best. All right, let me send this link to Laurie. And I'll see if I can get him on here. Bear with me, guys. Let me send it over to him now. Let me see. Yeah, Laurie's online. All right. Bear with me. People asking for you to join. I've got someone else in the building, man. A good friend of mine. This guy knows hell of a lot of boxing, man. He knows his stuff. And he's been on the channel a couple of times. My bro Shane is in the building. What are you saying, bro? Man?
What's up, man? Good to see you live, man. I'm glad to see you're back on your fan talk, bro. Good to see.
Yeah, it has to be done. Has to be done, man. We had a good conversation off camera as well, by the way. And yeah, definitely worth bringing the fan talk back. Let me get your expert opinion on this, man, because I was just saying, I don't know if you saw it, but this fight here, I mean, if you were to look at it on paper and you just saw Eubank knocked Williams down 4 times and won a decision, you'd be like, wow, man, that sounds brilliant. But for some reason, I just felt a bit, I don't know, felt like I wanted more, man. I felt like Eubank could have got Williams out of there. The punch resistance looked gone, but he allowed Williams to fight himself back into the fight. And, I was left a bit wanting, really. What did you think, Shane?
I mean, I feel like a lot of people are focusing on Eubank. I literally just came off a live with Jeff and BFV, and we were just saying, we've watched Williams fight for so many years, and I just don't think that Adam Booth style that he's coming to this fight with was the right opponent he done it with. Like, if I'm being honest, naturally, Williams is a dude who doesn't fight side on. He doesn't fight bouncing in and out on the tip of his toes. He's normally very flat-footed, stalking down his opponent. He came in with a completely different style. And I feel like when you're going into a fight trying to change your style too much, I just don't feel like it's going to work in your favor. And you could tell, like, from the first round, his body posture, the style that he was going in with, a lot of the punches that he was getting hit with, he wasn't even hurt by those. It's just that his feet weren't underneath him. And this Adam Booth style that he's adopted, it's very difficult to the Ingle style. It requires a certain level of fluidity, a certain level of coordination, accuracy, and single punch power. Someone like Williams, who we know is basically down to go in there, wear you down, accumulative punches. You're now asking him to change his whole entire style. So I didn't really like that immediately. So that was my biggest takeaway from the fight is moving forward. I mean, I did see some good things from Williams, but moving forward, I mean, I didn't like the style. I didn't think he was the right opponent to even be trying that style with.
Yeah. As you say that, we have got Laurie in the building, so we're going to get his reaction as well. Let me bring him in, man. Laurie from AFTV in the house, my father. We've got people here that are asking for your reaction to this. So let's hear it, man. Let's hear it. We've got you and Shane on. I probably won't get a word in now, but let me get your reaction to that, Laurie, while we've got Shane here. Big up, Shane. And Laurie, yeah, let me hear what your thoughts on this fight.
Right, before I go, big up Shane in the house. Long time no see, brother.
What's up, man?
Yeah, big up, Daryl. Thanks for the link up. Also, everybody out there watching, appreciate that. All those who showed love to the show last week, thanks for that. Now, let me say this, yeah. I spent all weekend looking forward to this fight, man. And I have to say, man, I was left very disappointed. I'm going to say this, man. That Roy Jones link up, bro, it's not working, bro. Like, the fake Roy Jones impressions was doing my head in. I'm like, yo, that fight should have been over by round 7. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Liam Williams was there for the taking. He was getting visibly hurt every time Eubank landed. Even aside from the knockdowns, I was watching it closely. Every time Eubank touched him, you could see he felt it. His eye was busted and closing. You know what I mean? What was Eubank Jr. doing there, man? You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking maybe Liam Williams hurt you just enough to not make you go all out, because I couldn't understand his reticence. And after the fight all this year, I just wanted to punish him. Bullshit, man. You know what I mean? I was disappointed, bro, in both of them. I agree with a lot of what Shane said. I think Liam Williams showed his limitations at the top level, and all that tough guy talk at the start of before the fight and all that, man, he was made to look silly to them.
Can I ask you guys both a question why I even made this statement? When you saw the way Williams fought Andrade, the way from the round 1 came out with a high guard, walking Andrade down, why did we not see that from round 1 in this fight? He waited.
You know what? He actually started the first couple of minutes okay. But once he got dropped, once he felt that power, you could see that he was, you know what I mean? He was a little bit hesitant to just go in and let his hands go. I mean, between the two of them, did you even see like a 3-punch combination from any of them that landed?
That was my biggest problem. That was my biggest problem.
You know what it was like? It was like watching a football match where like Arsenal go 3-0 up at half time, and then in the second half, they don't really do much. I mean, okay, Eubank's won the last couple of rounds. But I was disappointed, bro. I'm going to be honest. That was not world class what we saw today from either of them. And
Shane,
talking about Charlo and even Triple G at his advanced age.
You beat him now.
Yeah, Triple G would beat Eubank. I've got no hesitation in saying it. I was disappointed, man.
Shane, was Eubank carrying Liam Williams as he said, or do you think he was tiring? What do you think? Why do you think it went 12?
In my opinion, and I just keep it real, I agree with Laurie in a sense that he's trying to do this Roy Jones Jr. style, but he's just not offensively coordinated like a Roy Jones. If you look at where he throws his punches from, I said this when I was watching the fight, he catches dudes on the way in, but he doesn't do anything, as Laurie was saying, once they're inside the pocket. You know where you used to see Roy Jones throw a 3-punch combination with the same hand, or 1, 2, 3 quick and then pivot out? You don't really see that. He'll catch a dude coming in, and then once they're in, he will just load up on one uppercut. There's no accumulation of punches or putting punches together. Offensively, he's just not coordinated enough to do that, and he doesn't even try to be. And that's my problem. He literally has one trick. He's very athletically gifted, but offensively, he's looking for singles the whole night, and I don't really like that style.
No, but he never used to fight like that. Remember, if anything, Eubank used to throw all these combinations. We used to.
I mean, fighting with Roy Jones. That's what I mean. Since he's
you know what? Listen, man, Roy Jones is one of my all-time great favorite fighters. So anything I might say from here onwards may look like I'm dissing him, and I'm trying not to diss him. But somebody please tell me, how is that working? How is that link up with Roy Jones working out? It's not working at all.
Laurie,
1 second, Laurie. I'm just gonna quickly jump off. But I was gonna say, how long are you on? Because Jeff wanted to jump on as well. So
get Jeff on. We'll be on it. Get him on. All right, my brother. Yeah, Laurie, before the fight, you text me saying that this will be Roy Jones Jr.'s first serious test as a trainer under Eubank. You know, this will be the first serious test for him. I mean, there were times during this fight, where Eubank was doing a lot of stuff that Roy used to do, like where he holds his hands out like that, you know, and it did work at times because obviously he dropped Williams down 4 times in the fight, but it was just, I don't know, man. We shouldn't really be criticizing this fight because he did win the fight. but it's just
Yeah,
the way
no,
it
I
happened.
think he is worthy of criticism, bro. Seriously, I think because the reason why I am going to criticize him is because I don't know if you saw his post-fight interview, but
No, I didn't see it.
he was chatting shit, man. He was saying that, listen, man, I could have stopped him anytime, but I wanted to punish him. I was having fun out there. He was doing a lot of taunting, and he was clearly the better fighter. But in terms of a spectacle, I don't know what your viewers think. I don't know what you think, because I haven't spoken to you before coming on here. Mm-hmm. But I personally felt a little bit let down by that fight, man.
I did.
Really did. You know what I mean? There was so much hype around this fight. I literally spent the whole weekend. I went to the gym today. I was on the running machine, and all I could think about was that fight tonight. That actually got me through the run. I was thinking, right, I can't wait to finish this run, have a shower, get home and watch this fight. It's going to be really good. I thought Eubank would win.
Yeah.
And I knew he would have to go through some uncomfortable moments. I thought it'd be nip and tuck, but I thought he would pull away round about the halfway mark and force a stoppage down the stretch. But, you know, it's very different.
See this comment here from Michael Maxwell. Big him up. He's put here, Eubank has only performed well in recent years against full-on brawlers like Yildirim and Pike. I thought that this fight was going the Yildirim way. Yeah. I thought that Eubank was going to be able to open up on Williams like he did, but can he do that anymore? Is that, are we overlooking that?
I think he's caught in a style, isn't he? I wouldn't say caught between two styles, because he's not boxing anything like how he used to box. And I think that's somewhat to his detriment. I actually preferred watching the Eubank before. You know what I mean? This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was disappointed, man. I can't hide my disappointment. I'm pleased for him, because some of the antics that Liam Williams was going on with before, I don't like that type of stuff. There's trash talk. He was crossing the boundary a little bit there for me. But hey, you know, it is what it is. It's boxing.
Apparently, the British Board of Boxing Control are going to pull Liam Williams in to have a word with him about some of his pre-fight remarks to you.
Yeah, I found it was a big boorish.
Like but I didn't see nothing too bad. But I mean, they're going to pull him anyway.
Yeah.
So
I think what the British Boxing Board of Control were worried about, and indeed, I saw Robert Smith, who's the head of the British Boxing Board. He went in the ring after, and you could see him having a chat with both fighters. And the interviews were actually conducted in the dressing room rather than in the ring. So that tells you that they were worried about the crowd. Now, I've been to fight nights in Cardiff, and I can tell you, man, it's quite a rough crowd up there. You know what I mean? So yeah. So I think they were probably worried, man, that it could boil over, especially when Eubank spent a lot of time taunting Liam Williams, isn't it? You know what I mean? Taunting him and doing all sorts of stuff in there.
More taunting than punching.
That's what I'm saying, man. It's like the Roy Jones, but without the Roy Jones effects.
Mm.
Well, the only thing he didn't do tonight was remember the Roy Jones behind the back and then the throw the back. That's the only thing he didn't do.
Yeah.
The stance, even the beard and you know, the beard, the haircut, the shorts, the red and all that.
Yeah.
But it's a Roy Jones clone without the Roy Jones special effects in the ring.
Let me just say, Laurie, we got 22 people in the building right here. Don't forget to hit the like button, man. We're 20 subscribers away from 1,000, so hopefully we could get nearer that mark today. This is Fan Talk, so anybody is welcome to join. You're welcome to leave your comments, but I've left the link out there. If you guys want to join the stream, you can have your say. Otherwise, feel free to keep leaving your comments. Hit that like button, share the video, man. Let's get it out there. Our post-fight reaction here to Eubank Jr. and Liam Williams. Now, Laurie, just as I go through these comments here, big up Corrupt. What would you like to see next for Kush Eubank? I didn't see the post-fight interview, but what would you like to see next for Eubank Jr. and then Liam Williams? Let's talk about him as well.
Right, I'll start with Liam Williams. I think Liam Williams showed tonight that he's not world-class level, man. I mean, he performed very well against Andre, but it was still a loss. I felt tonight he was decent in spurts, in spots, but he never put a game plan together that made me feel that he has what it takes to go on from this level. I think tonight you're seeing a fighter that is European level at best. I can't see him beating any of those champions at middleweight. I really can't.
Even the old Triple G, I can't
see.
Yeah,
no. He couldn't beat Triple G. None of those two would beat Triple G.
No.
You know? unless Triple G, I mean, we haven't seen him fight. God knows how long. He should really be getting out of the game, Triple G. If you're not going to fight, exit the game, man. But I'm looking at him. I'm looking at Charlo, people like that. I can't, even though I personally think that Charlo slipped a bit as well recently. I think he'll beat both of these two comfortably tonight. Comfortably, man. I have to say that. I don't think Eubanks is at that level, man. I don't. And it's a while now since I've been impressed with Eubank. When was the last time you was impressed by a Chris Eubank fight? Because I can't say I was impressed tonight.
Maybe the Yildirim fight.
Maybe James DeGale.
Yeah.
Fight, didn't it? Although, let's be honest, that was a James DeGale that was well past his best. So he does have some good names on the record there, or decent names on the record. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
I mean, it'll be interesting because, like we saw some of the comment, an earlier comment here. Eubank is one of the flagship fighters for Sky at the moment, and the Boxer banner. You know, they're pushing him, so it's going to be interesting to see what route they take him. Because, listen, Liam Williams, I've always thought he was a good fighter, but I thought that Eubank had the opportunity tonight to really, you know, make a statement and really get people excited about potential fights against, you know, the rest of the middleweight division, which is actually atrocious. Let me just say that as well. These guys are just circling around each other. Nothing is going on. We were supposed to get the unification between Triple G and Murata last year, but due to COVID, that fight never happened. But really, as a whole, this division is very disappointing. These guys don't fight each other at all. Andrade had to move up. Do you know what I mean? So I'm curious to see what direction they take Eubank in next. I mean, somebody like a Felix Cash, he's not going to want to do all that taunting with someone like him.
Now, that is a great fight. I'm not sure if Eubank should be wanting to take that fight, to be honest. If I was involved with Chris Eubank Jr., and listen, I like Chris Eubank Jr., so I'm not dissing it. I'm just being honest. Based on what I've seen, not just from tonight, but recently, Felix Cash gives him a world of problems, bro. Trust me. I'm not sure if that's a fight they would take or that they would want. Because let's be honest, it would be a retrograde step in terms of his world title aspirations. I think Eubank Jr. needs to fight for a world title in his next fight. Because any more of these showings, man, they're not going to really be able to market him, are they?
No.
That fight, I'm sure, was watched around the world. Now, if you're an American fight fan, would you be impressed by that tonight?
Not at all.
So, you know what I mean?
And it's crazy we're saying this because, again, if you were to just look at a report and or someone said, "Oh, what happened last night?" "Oh, Eubank won on points. He scored 4 knockdowns." You'd be like, "Rah! He scored 4 knockdowns, won the fight on points." But yet we're here criticizing it. Do you know what I mean? It seems crazy.
I know that's strange, and I don't want to be overcritical because I've met Chris Eubank Jr. He's a really nice guy, and I like him. I like the way. Shall I tell you what I like about Chris Eubank Jr.? He took that fight tonight in Cardiff in an absolute bear pit of an atmosphere. You got to have special cojones to do something like that. You know what I mean? Even if he was the favourite, because you know, and it was evident tonight. Every time Liam Williams so much as landed a jab, the crowd were going crazy. I was like texting people saying, "What is Matthew Macklin on? He was giving Liam Williams rounds." I'm like, "What? Why are you giving him the round? What, because he didn't get knocked down in that round, you gave him the round?" You know what I mean? When there wasn't that much happening, all Liam Williams seemed to have to do was land a jab. And Macklin, especially, and Enzo Maccarinelli were trying to say that, "Yeah, I thought he won that round." And so that is one of the reasons why, as soon as I'd heard that Eubank had agreed to fight him in Cardiff, I thought that was a very brave, maybe even foolish decision from Eubank. But anyway, that aside, listen, Eubank in spots did show some class, you know what I mean? His head movement was good. But then even then, I don't know if you noticed it, but he would make Williams miss by just head movement. His hands were down low and he was pulling out with his head back. So that's why later on in the fight, those punches that he was evading so effortlessly earlier in the fight, he was actually getting caught by some of them later, because as you get more tired, your reflexes are not quite the same.
Mm-hmm.
So he was getting caught with shots that he should never been getting caught with. He should have had his hands up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not
So
the Roy style, is it?
and then he would not let his hands go. He was just pot shotting the way Roy Jones used to do. But like I said, the difference is he hasn't got the innate ability of a Roy Jones. So it was like watching a clumsy Roy Jones Jr. clone.
Good point from my brother WM in here. He's put here, he should fight for the soon-to-be vacant WBO title after Andrade vacates it. So yeah, Laurie, we've got someone here to join. They're going to give their opinion on the fight. So shout out first of all to my guy Mohammed in the building. Mohammed, let us know your thoughts on this fight, man. What did you think?
It was a very weird fight because first round, and was it the first, second, and fourth round? He got the knockdown.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, those rounds, obviously you knocked them down, and you're thinking, okay, now we can go and knock him out, but he just kept taunting him after that from the fifth round and onwards, and I felt like he could have knocked him out, but for some reason he was just taunting him the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, the big question for me was it taunting after, like, at one point, it was clearly taunting, but was the taunting to cover the fact that he wasn't able to get Williams out of there, or was he just telling the truth in that post-fight interview where he said he was just playing with him, he could have got him out of there when he wanted to, but he just wanted to just, carry him throughout the fight? What do you lean towards more? Do you think he was doing that, or do you think he just couldn't get him out of there?
I felt like it was a bit of both. I felt like he was just playing with him, and also I felt like he couldn't knock him out either. So I felt like it was a bit of both. But then he wasn't really trying the second half of the fight. He was just showboating. So I don't know.
Interesting here. I want to get both your opinions on this. I'll start with you, Mohammed, and then we'll go to Laurie. Conor Benn, big up Simbox, by the way. Would love to get you on here someday, bro. But he's just put here, I don't know if you know about this, Laurie, but Conor Benn just tweeted that he'd take a catchweight bout with Chris Eubank Jr. Mohammed, what's your thoughts on that, first of all?
I'd fancy Conor Benn in that fight if it happened. I don't know. Don't you think Chris Eubank Jr.'s technical boxing isn't that great? It's only when he comes forward is when it's good, but his technical boxing, I'm not being too impressed with it.
No. He's got a lot of athleticism, like his idol Roy Jones Jr., but the technique, I mean, he's got brilliant his athleticism, when he lets his hands go, he's one of the more exciting fighters out there for me. I mean,
his movement's good.
But in terms of he was sharp at times. I mean, he countered Williams. You need good technique to do that. But just the basic fundamentals, how you're supposed to stand and everything. He doesn't do that very well, but maybe that's just not what's comfortable for him. But before you go, Mohammed, just give me his performance out of 10, Eubank Juniors for me.
I think 6 out of 10. He did get 4 knockdowns. So
6 out of 10, yeah.
I
think that's what our other caller said as well. But I appreciate you, bro. I'm going to get Laurie's opinion on this, but stay on the chat if you can. And we'll catch up soon, my man.
Thanks for having me on.
All good, bro. All good. Laurie, what's your thoughts on Conor Benn's comments just there?
I don't take that serious, to be honest. He should be worried about guys at his own weight. Extend that energy towards Avanesian, man. You know what I mean? That's you know what I mean? I don't like when fighters do that stuff, you know what I mean? Just concentrate on your own weight class, making your own way. There's plenty of smoke at welterweight. You know what I mean? Concentrate on your own weight class. Don't get out your box, man. You know what I mean? Because he wouldn't be able to do anything to Chris Eubank Jr. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
There's about 3 weight classes north of him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You saw what happened to Paul Brook when he went up to middleweight to fight Triple G. He pretty much ended his career. He's still suffering the effects of that so-called bravery right now. So there is weight classes for a reason. Conor Benn, you're an outstanding fighter, but don't get too ahead of yourself. There's more than enough smoke at welterweight. That's what I'm missing.
Absolutely. Shout out to Wexford DJ here, man. Big up, bro. He said here, hit the likes, guys. Yeah, please hit the likes, people. Hit them likes, man. We got a lot of likes on the last podcast, man. I don't know if you saw it, Laurie, but that was the most views I've got on the podcast so far. So
yeah, man, I saw that. I was very impressed. It's interesting, though, because I had a couple of calls today from people who watched the show. and they said how much they enjoyed it. And I said to them, listen, man, thanks very much, but please share it. You want to get the word out there, man, because I believe in what we're doing. And I think the more people that see it, and I'm trying not to be braggadocious or, you know what I mean, boastful, but I do believe in the content. I think it's fair, reasoned, and well put together. And I think people out there will enjoy it. To go back to tonight, I must admit, I do agree with what Mohammed said in terms of these markings out of 10 for Eubank. It seems a bit strange that you can only mark somebody 6 out of 10 when they've scored 4 knockdowns and won like 117 to 116 and something like that against a guy as good as Liam Williams, which maybe tells us that we do rate Eubank, but we want to see more. Personally, I'd like to see him fight for a world title in his next fight. I don't see no more hanging around, man. No more hanging around. I think he needs the challenge of a world title fight to bring the best out of him, because one of the reasons why I was so frustrated with him tonight is that I genuinely felt he could have done more, but for whatever reason he didn't. Now he's saying he wanted to punish Liam Williams. I'm not buying that, to be honest. I don't know, man. He seems to be a fighter that's caught between this Roy Jones trying to look good and the old style Eubank. But then, even then, he weren't really letting his hands go, was he?
No.
Very,
WM said here,
very
I just want to read this comment out to you. IB has said here, sorry, big up IB. He's put, he doesn't deserve to fight for a vacant title. I think he needs to beat a champion to prove he's worthy, or else he may as well keep his phony IBO belt.
I'll tell you what, somebody in the comments there mentioned Munguia. He would not beat Munguia like that.
No.
Because I've seen Munguia fight, and Munguia throws a hell of a lot of punches per round. So unless he's going to knock Munguia out, he would be beaten on points in that fight. So they've got to, I don't know, man. I don't know what you think, man. But I just think I'm going to say this, man, but in terms of his actual boxing ability, it would appear that he's regressing under Roy Jones. And I hate to say that, man, because I'm a massive Roy Jones fan, but I just got to call it like I see it, bro. Like, the one good thing I would say about him being with Roy Jones is obviously he's going to learn a lot from somebody like that. You know what I mean? You can see they're close, and you can see that the positive effects of Roy Jones on him is that he strengthened his mentality. And, you know what I mean? When you're in camp with somebody like Roy Jones, it can only be a positive, really. But in terms of the output, what he's producing in the boxing sense, I'm not seeing any improvement. Are you?
That's harsh, but not really. Not really. Like you said, I prefer the old Eubank, man. It was flawed. There were flaws there. And, you know, he is still on this journey with Roy. It's not like it's been that long, them to have been together, had that many fights. This was the first real serious fight. And Eubank has suffered setbacks in his personal life as well, which obviously may have, like, you know, halted some of that progression with Roy. But yeah, I was left wanting more tonight. Let me just pull up the middleweight rankings from your favorite publication, Laurie, which is, of course, The Ring magazine. We'll get that up there. And I want you to tell me, you know, who you would like to see Eubank fight out of the top 10. So let me share the screen. Let me know when you can see it. Can you see it?
I couldn't see beating any of those top 3. I'm going to say that here and now.
Well, he's moving. Charlo looks like he's going to move up. So does Andrade. Triple G still there. So then you've got here Munguia, Murata. Then you've got Eubank at number 7. You've got Janibek here, who was supposed to fight. He was supposed to fight Andrade, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Then you've got Eubank at number 7.
I haven't seen that much of Murata and Janibek. So I wouldn't like to say, to be honest. I know Murata. I saw him as an amateur win the gold medal. Doesn't seem to be anything special, and I say that with respect. I'm not trying to disrespect him. I'm just being honest. As a world title level fighter, he looks good. He looks efficient. But I would give Eubank a chance against him for sure.
Yeah.
But even then, I'm not convinced that this version of Chris Eubank that we're seeing now would beat him. I'd probably make Murata favourite. January, I haven't seen much of at all, just a few highlights and clips.
Yeah, same. We go down here. We've got Liam Williams actually as number 10. Derevyanchenko. Would that be a good fight for Eubank right now? He's been a bit. He's been a bit on the slide a little bit.
Yeah, he's past his best, so I'd fancy Eubank against him. Although I think he still knows enough and still has enough ability to give Eubank a hard night. And that might be a good guy there, Carlos Adams. I saw him fight a couple of weeks ago. He looked good, actually.
Yeah.
He looked good.
Interesting, man.
I'm not sure if Eubank would beat him either. So in answer to your question, out of those top 10, obviously he's beaten Liam Williams tonight.
Yeah.
I think I'd fancy him against Derevyanchenko. I mean, he'd have a chance against all these guys. But whether he'd beat them, I can't say with any confidence. He certainly would have to perform better than he did tonight.
The Munguia's not a good fight for him, in my
opinion. The Munguia, I couldn't see him beating Munguia boxing like what he's been boxing recently. I think Munguia would just outpoint him, out-hustle him. Munguia does, for a middleweight, he throws a lot of punches. And he's a tough kid as well.
Be interesting to see where it goes, man. I mean, there is, of course, the potential Billy Joe Saunders rematch. That could be something that could be discussed. Maybe Sky might go down that route. Billy Joe Saunders did say, he did say that he would be open to that fight. Yeah.
From what I hear, he's pricing himself out in that fight. He's asking for ridiculous money. So that's probably not going to happen. But then if you're Billy Joe Saunders and you're sitting at home tonight, you're probably going to get up for a run at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. You know what I mean? I'm putting a call to Eddie Hearn and say, listen, man, give me that fight. Because seriously, I don't know, man. I can't say that he'd beat Billy Joe with performing like that, with this fake Roy Jones impression shit. I don't think he was going to work against the better guys. I really don't.
Question here from Big Lou. He's put here, has Eubank had a good career so far? I'd say yeah.
Yeah.
He's made the most out of his ability. He's earned a lot of money. I think he's got enough respect on his name to not just be in his father's shadow. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think he's had a good career. I'll give him that. Definitely.
Yeah, and he's a very charismatic guy. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? He's got presence. He's got a certain aura about him. And I do like watching him fight, but I'm just being honest tonight. Maybe it's because he had that really good start. You knock someone down 4 times in the first few rounds of a fight. You're expecting them to either go on to either get rid of the guy or totally dominate them. You know what I mean? You saw Clarissa Shields on the undercard there. Okay, she didn't get any knockdowns, but she should have had a stoppage because that referee, I don't know what's wrong with it. He should have stopped that fight. But you saw Clarissa in it. She totally outclassed that girl from start to finish. You know,
we'll get on to Clarissa. I just want your thoughts on Liam Williams before we get on to that fight.
Listen, man, Liam Williams,
does he retire? What does he do?
No, he's still got some juice left. I just don't think he's world level. I think that's been shown now. Don't forget, he came up short against Liam Smith a couple of times. He was very young at that stage. He's come back. He's had a decent career. He's had some decent wins. He put in a very good effort against Andrade, actually. Very good effort. But it was still a losing effort. And then tonight, he was dropped a couple of times in that fight too. And then tonight, he was dropped 4 times. And he's lost a wide decision to, let's face it, an under-par Chris Eubank Jr. So you would have to say that he's not world level. So maybe he can fight for a European title. I mean, there's still some fights for him to pursue in this country. I mean, how about him versus Felix Cash? That would be a very good fight. You know what I mean? Or he might want to try and win back the British title. I don't know if he'll consider that beneath him or whatever, but maybe a European title fight. But I don't think I think it's clear by now that he's not going to win a world title.
Yeah. Shout out to both fighters, man. At the end of the day, you know, they got out there. You know, it was a great atmosphere as expected, and you know, credit to Eubank Jr. He did get the win, and credit to Williams for getting himself up off the canvas each time and, you know, putting the effort in, because, you know, it's a tough thing to do, just stepping through those ropes. So for you to be dropped like that 4 times and, you know, get up and be respectable throughout the fight, it still deserves some credit from me. So
yeah, you can't give him enough credit. He showed a lot of heart. One thing I've always said about Liam Williams, he's a bit of a bully in his personality. Some of his antics I do find a bit boorish and a bit unsavory at times. But hey, that's who he is. He's never going to change, is he? He's 29 now. He's not going to change. But you can't question the man's heart. I mean, there were question marks against his heart. Well, some people were saying there was when he fought Liam Williams, that first fight. Some people suggested he might have quit. I don't think he did. But listen, any talk like that is redundant. He got dropped 4 times tonight. At no stage did he look like jacking it in or spewing it. So you got to commend him. And he did get better as the fight went on.
Absolutely.
Which is why I was asking you, is it Eubank Jr.? To me, I think Eubank Jr. looked a bit bereft of ideas, didn't he? He didn't know how to really break a man down. That was what disappointed me.
Yeah.
Normally, when you see a guy drop the next man 4 times, you normally see them compose themselves and then, you know what I mean, take the guy apart, use the jab, go to the body, come up to the head. He was the physically stronger man, but he was doing a lot of backing off, you know what I mean? Flicking out jabs. Yes, they were landing, a lot of the jabs were, so I was still giving him the rounds. But then there was quite a few rounds when there wasn't all that much going on. So maybe that was why Macklin saw fit to give Liam Williams some of the rounds. He actually had it quite close, you know.
Yeah, well, only a couple of rounds, I think. Only 2 rounds.
Yeah, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, because Liam Williams was doing better, but was he doing enough to win the rounds? I would say no.
It was close. Eubank didn't really do a lot.
Oh, so you agree with Macklin?
Maybe not all of the rounds, but I think that, like, Eubank didn't do a lot, man.
No, but
he was
when
doing a lot of talking, he was doing a lot of showboating, but how many punches did he throw? I saw the punch stats. They were almost even.
At one point, though, Matthew Macklin said, yeah, I've given Liam Williams the last 5 rounds. I'm like,
no, I didn't go that far. No.
Like, what are you talking about, bro? Right? What are you talking about? Come on.
I didn't go that far, no.
Just because he's coming forward and looking menacing, he wasn't landing anything of any note. They were like jabs. You know what I mean? So there was no way you could say that he won 5 rounds back to back like that. Pathetic.
Eddie JB has said here, Williams was more aggressive, but he wasn't that effective with his punches.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, listen, I was watching the fight, man. I was scoring it. Mind you, I need to download that app.
You need to download that app. Get Francisco. Where's Francisco, man? What's that score say?
117 to 107.
Yeah.
You know, there was quite a few knockdowns.
IB has said here, Enzo Macronelli is a Welshman, and even he was more fair than
I said that earlier, didn't I? I said that earlier. Him and Liam Williams are actually mates, and he was far more on point than Matthew Macklin. I think
Enzo was good tonight.
Matt Macklin maybe he doesn't like Eubank that much. I don't know, man. But I don't know. Normally Matt Macklin is somebody I respect. And I still do respect him, but tonight he was getting that wrong, bro.
Let's talk about the chief.
I think he was saying that if Williams won the last 2 rounds, he could get a draw. I'm like, what?
Yeah, he did say that, yeah. Corrupt says here, Liam Williams versus Denzel Bentley.
No, that would be a good fight as well.
Would he want to drop down there?
This is it. I don't see. Listen, if you fought at the level he's fought, and don't forget, he did give a good account of himself against Andre. To go and fight for a British title, a title that he's already won, by the way, and to fight somebody like Denzel Bentley, who got knocked out the first time he stepped up, he was pretty much exposed, wasn't he, by Felix Cash. So I'm not sure. If I'm Liam Williams, I'm looking at that fight, I'm thinking, nah, he'd probably pursue a European title fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what he'd probably do.
Let's talk about Rex was calling you a dinosaur because he said you need to download that app.
Yeah, I'm going to download it, man. In fact, as soon as we finish it, I'm going to download it.
But yeah, let's talk quickly about, before we go, Claressa Shields, brilliant. She got the win, But the talking point was after the fight. I thought she had a good performance in the ring.
Yeah,
there was a lot of people on Twitter, man. They were like, "Oh, Savannah Marshall's destroy Shields." I'm like, "What? Are people not watching like what we're seeing here? Just because she hasn't knocked the girl out, don't mean that she's not putting in a good performance. Do you know what I mean? Savannah Marshall's a very good fighter. I like her a lot. She can punch. She's very good, and I think that fight with Clarissa Shields is going to be great. But I thought that there weren't enough credit online anyway. From what I saw on Clarissa Shields, I know she didn't get the knockout, but you know it was an easy win, won every single round. And the talking point, of course, was after the fight. Loved the head-to-head between them two, man. They went at it, and it escalated really quickly. So they need to get these two in the ring, man. Laurie, your thoughts on that fight? Clarissa Shields.
Clarissa was punch perfect, as she normally is. I think people are right to raise an issue about her punching power, which is why I remember me and you had conversations about this. So when she was calling out Keith Thurman, this is why we were saying, look, stop that shit.
Yeah.
Because you're not even getting Emma Kozman or whatever her name out of there. You know, I mean, you hit her with pretty much everything bar the kitchen sink and you couldn't drop her. How the fuck are you going to fight someone like Keith Thurman? So you need to just take that out of your mouth. So in some ways, she does deserve some stick. Because if you call yourself the GOAT and you say I can beat guys like Keith Thurman and you have to put me in with men to spar because no woman can stand with me, you are going to get pushback because people are going to say, well, look, you know what I mean? So, you know, I have to be fair and say I can see why some people would have been critical of her tonight. I'm not really one of those because, you know what I mean? She won every single minute of every single round, something that Chris Eubank wasn't able to do. And let's be honest as well, that girl that she was fighting tonight is unbeaten and a champion. Okay, not a top-ranked champion, but she's a champion of sorts. So she was young, ambitious, came to win, but she was just totally outclassed. I thought Clarissa looked great.
Eddie's making me laugh with this comment here. Eddie's saying here, he said they mentioned Savannah Marshall more than they did Clarissa Shields during that fight. I think he's right.
They're trying to hype up a potential showdown, isn't it? They're trying to hype up a potential show. I thought Ben Charlton was a little bit disrespectful to Clarissa.
Yeah, I thought he was as well. Yeah, I didn't really like that.
No, he kind of ambushed her.
Shields was looking at him like,
yeah. You know that he's a promoter. He's not supposed to be doing that. Because obviously he wants Clarissa Shields to come back over here. If I'm like Clarissa, I'll be pulling to one side and say, yeah, how dare you ambush me like that? Because I didn't see that coming.
Nor did I.
Neither did she. You could see that. She was like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a promoter. You're not supposed to be saying stuff like that. That's the type of stuff you'd expect someone like Peter Fury to say. You know what I mean? Someone that's in Savannah Marshall's camp. And Savannah Marshall, she did what she's supposed to do. She, you know what I mean, hyping up the fight. It's in her interest financially to do that. But I'll tell you now, man, I mean, people are saying Savannah Marshall can punch, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm sure she can. But I'll tell you also, that is the only chance she has in that fight is to knock Clarissa out. Because it's skill for skill. They're on different levels. Trust me.
Wexford DJ says here, the problem is Shields doesn't knock anyone out. That's the question. And he thinks that Savannah will break her. So
yeah, but who's she been breaking though? You know what I mean? That's the thing. Who's she been breaking? It's a very risky strategy when you go into a fight and all you're saying is, I'm going to knock somebody out. Because a lot of the times when people say that, it doesn't happen. So you have to fall back on your skill set. Now, I would defy anyone out there to say that Savannah Marshall has a better skill set than Clarissa Shields. Now, don't get me wrong.
That's what they'll say.
No, listen, if you can punch, you do have a chance, which what makes this fight so intriguing. Because, you know, sometimes Clarissa does stay in the pocket, don't she? You see when she lands those 3, 4, 5 punch combinations, she stays in the pocket. So she can be countered. She can be hit. We've seen her get dropped by Anna Gabriel, I think it was. But then even then, when she got dropped, I watched that fight. She just got straight up and carried on molly-whopping her opponent. So
got a question here from Biggie Duoso. I don't know if I can't pronounce your name, but I've seen him ask this earlier, so I'll answer it. He's put here, what's your thoughts on Johnny Fisher? Your thoughts on him?
You know what? I have to apologize and say I was at the gym. I didn't see that fight. I did record the whole thing. So the fights I missed, like Johnny Fisher, Harlem Eubank, 1 or 2 others, I will watch back later on, maybe tomorrow morning or something like that. So
yeah, I actually missed it as well, if I'm honest. I didn't get to see it either. Apologies. But yeah, I'll check in on that fight and let you guys know. But from what I've seen of him, I mean, he's a big ticket seller. He didn't fight today anyway, did he? But like,
couldn't tell you, man.
big ticket seller, man. He's got a bright future. He's matchroom mini, so yeah, he wouldn't have been on this bill. But like, yeah, I mean, he's looking like he could be someone to keep an eye on in the future. But there are a lot of heavyweight. He's gonna have to take your time with him because there's a lot of
we're blessed with a lot of heavyweights in this country at the moment, man. I mean, look at you got Tyson Fury, Joshua, Dillian, you know what I mean, Daniel Dubois, you know what I mean, the list goes on. Fabio Wardley, you got Adelaide, you know what I mean? We're stacked at heavyweight fight. So if Johnny Fisher can get anywhere near that level, I forgot Joe Joyce.
Yeah,
he's a very good fighter, you know what I mean? So yeah, man, at the moment, heavyweights in this country, man, it's looking good.
IB has said here, to be fair, I think Savannah Marshall is a good boxer as well, and the power helps a lot. She can really use her size and reach too if she boxes Shields. The power can sting Shields even if it doesn't KO her. I agree. He's made some points there.
Yeah, listen, I'm not saying that Savannah Marshall doesn't have a chance, but I think it's a puncher's chance. I think skill set for skill set, I think Claressa Shields is out there on her own. And let's be honest as well, she's not the only woman that doesn't get any stoppages. There's very few women that get stoppages.
Yeah, the rounds are shorter as well, aren't they?
Yeah,
so
2-minute rounds, you know what I mean? I mean, let's be honest, man. That girl should have been pulled out of there tonight. Wouldn't she? Let's face it.
I've seen less.
I've
seen stoppages for less. Shout out Jeff T.
For much less.
Big up Jeff TV in the house, man. My brother all the way from Philly. We need to talk about this Harden trade, man. Harden looks like he's going to the 76ers. We'll talk about that, bro, but that's a separate thing. Jeff has said here, 2 people want to bet me $5K a piece that Savannah Marshall will beat Claressa Shields. All right, listen, all you got to do is bet some people over here in the UK, because all over UK Twitter today, they're convinced Savannah Marshall defeats Claressa Shields. So if you want to make some money, I mean, I think that Shields will win, but I do like Savannah Marshall. I think she is a good fighter, and I think that she will give her toughest test as a pro, for sure. But I've still got Shields winning that, if I'm being honest, man. I do.
Yeah. Listen, I think in this country, we're slightly different to Americans in our psyche. I think a lot of the stuff that Claressa does, calling herself the GOAT, calling herself, you know what I mean, the greatest of all times, and, you know what I mean, I can go up and down in weight and smoke anybody. A lot of people in Britain are kind of put off by that type of stuff. And in Britain, we love more than anything to see somebody chatting a lot of shit, get their mouths closed. Because even tonight, if you notice, a lot of people are going for Liam Williams, man, saying you talk all that stuff before the fight, and yet you got beat. You know what I mean? So I think that kind of thing, being boastful and braggadocious and all that's all right when you're winning. But a lot of people out there will be hoping that Savannah Marshall is able to shut Claressa Shields up. And of course, you got that UK versus US thing.
Yeah.
In the UK, we sometimes feel that the Americans are a bit condescending towards us in the UK, which they are.
They are. Some, a lot, not all of them.
Not all of them,
but a lot of them can be.
Yeah,
I thought
they tend to look down their nose at British fighters, Americans do. So I think some of that is factoring into this as well. So some people would like nothing better than to see Savannah Marshall close the big mouth American's mouth. Whether that will happen, though, is another matter entirely. Because I strongly fancy Claressa, because I think she's got a good chin. And yes, Savannah Marshall's been getting girls out of there, but they're nowhere near the level of Claressa, though. So I'm not even sure how much I can really like factor that into the equation.
I'll tell you what, man, I loved the head-to-head today. You know what I mean? At first, it started off a bit cordial. You know, Claressa held her hand out. Savannah tapped it. So I thought, okay, they're going to be a bit, you know what I mean? They'll be respectful. And then literally, Savannah Marshall, I do like, you can't intimidate her. She's not overwhelmed by this. She's literally like, look, man, I'm not afraid of you. Like, let's get it on. Nothing about you impresses me. I'm not scared of you. Like, let's do it. And just there today, she just said to her, like, look, if you fight like that against me, I'm wiping the floor with you, mate. I love that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And then,
why
like,
not?
what?
Why not?
And then they went at each other.
She's the only woman to ever beat Clarissa Shields, so why not?
Yeah.
I would do a similar thing. And not only that, I think because they're polar opposites in personality, you could see that she gets under Clarissa's skin quickly. You know, I mean, Clarissa, I think, would almost prefer somebody shouting and hollering at her back. But I think if you're sort of a bit more understated, but you still get those little digs in, I think it kind of hurts her more, because you saw Clarissa, she went from 0 to 100 real quick today, man. She looked like she was ready to get it on there and then.
Yeah. And I think Ben Shalom he kind of helped that as well with what he said.
did.
I think, yeah.
I didn't think that was his place to do that. I thought
Nor did I. I didn't really. I thought it was a bit disrespectful, really.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But I've got no problem with what Savannah Marshall did. She's a fighter. She's saying, listen, man, bring it on. You fight like that. You know what I mean? She's been teasing Clarissa Shields online as well prior to tonight, calling her pillow fists and things like that. And if you notice, before the fight, she gave an interview where she'll say, Clarissa will win. She should get her out of there, but she probably won't. It'll probably go to points. And you know what I mean? So she's getting her little digs in, and then they showed her during the fight, in between rounds, where she was pretending to go to sleep. You know what I mean? So it's all part of the build-up to what will be a massive fight. Like I said before on your show, Daryl, a couple of weeks ago now, that I'm looking forward to their fight, Shields versus Marshall, way more than I am Katie Taylor versus Amanda Serrano. To me, that's just a hype thing. Yeah. This one here, Shields versus Marshall, is a real fight.
Yeah. Last one here, Laurie, before we go. Shout out to IB with a question. He's put here, there is, of course, another fight tonight. And, we'll quickly touch on this before we sign out. Our final thoughts on Furman and Barrios. Now, we did the prediction on the show. But what I'll say again is the more we get closer to the fight, the less confident I'm feeling in Keith Furman.
You know what? I see that, I see that. I can see why you think that. I can see what. I mean, listen, Thurman's not been in the ring for nearly a couple of years now. I think it was you that was telling me, Daryl, that he hasn't had a stoppage in God knows how long, despite his one-time moniker. You know what I mean? He should call him 2,000 times, because, you know what I mean? Whereas he used to hit them one time and they'd go. They're not going anywhere now. But this is what I said about stoppages are harder to come by the more you step up in opposition. And this is what I was saying about Savannah Marshall. Yeah, she's getting girls out of it. So, for example, the African girl that she knocked out or stopped a couple of fights ago. Come on, man. Clarissa would have stopped that girl as well. Or if not, you know what I mean? When you move up in class and quality, it's harder to stop guys. It's as simple as that. Now, with Furman, he's not been out the ring. He's not had a stoppage for a while. Barrios moving up in weight. He's coming off the back of a loss where he got stopped by Tank. I'm still leaning towards Thurman, but it could be a very close fight. It could be one of those where Thurman gets a disputed decision because Barrios may have outworked him. Because if you remember, when Barrios fought Tank, a lot of people had him up on the cards.
Yeah, he did.
Remember, Floyd was coming over to him in between rounds and saying, hey, man, listen, man, I've heard it from good authority that you're behind on the cards. And I remember Tank looking like, what? But to be fair to Tank, he did what Eubank didn't do tonight, stepped it up and got his man out of it.
Yeah. Be interesting, man. I picked Furman on points, so I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to go with Furman on points in this one. But I think it'll be a closer fight than maybe some people would have predicted. A couple of questions here. Chris Dyer said here, how do you think Eubank fares against Golovkin if the two were to meet this summer? I'd pick Golovkin over even this Golovkin over Eubank.
Yeah, I mean, the only problem with that is that we haven't seen Golovkin in God knows how long. But I do agree with you. If I was a betting man, then, and I had, I'm down to my last 20 quid and I had to bet on someone, I'll be honest, man, I would want Chris Eubank Jr. to win, but based on what I'm seeing recently, I'd have to give Golovkin the edge, even at his advanced age. I just think he'd know too much. And I couldn't see Eubank dropping Golovkin with jabs. Can you? Golovkin's got one of the best chin.
I wouldn't see him get past Golovkin's jab either, even now. He'd
I
have to
just think
overwhelm
Golovkin
him.
would know too much for him, man. Golovkin is, you're talking about a guy that's had 300 and odd amateur fights at the top level, won Olympic silver medal, world champion as an amateur. As a pro, he's won world titles. He's only lost once, really, hasn't he? I mean, I thought he lost against Danny Jacobs, but, you know, he got the decision. He lost to Canelo. The first fight, though, I thought he beat Canelo. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think
that was a long time ago, you see. That's the thing.
Yeah,
and it's not for anybody of note, has he? That's the thing. So I think Eubank would have a chance. It's just that
I just there's too many holes. The defense is too open. It's too leaky, man. Even this Golovkin here, he walks up with a tight guard. You know what I mean? Has a great jab. He's not going to lose that overnight. I just think that will just put holes through Eubank. Even now, I just think so. Eubank will have to overwhelm him, but I don't see that.
Yeah, he just doesn't throw enough punches.
Yeah, not anymore. Not under Roy, he hasn't done it.
He's doing all this, like, you know what I mean?
Nah, you can't do that. You think you could do that with Triple G? Even this Triple G? Not me. Taylor Serrano is the bigger fight for Wexford DJ. Fair enough. It's the bigger fight. I think it will attract more.
It's a bigger fight commercially, but it's not a better fight. So
I'm looking forward more to the other fight. Yeah.
There's no doubt it's a bigger fight commercially. But it's not a better fight, man. No chance. I think Serrano's going to beat Katie Taylor quite comfortably, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be one of those where Katie Taylor does well to get through the rounds, because I think she is quite some way past her best. It's been quite a while since I've been impressed with Katie Taylor in the ring. I've got to keep it real. She should have 2 losses on her record as well.
Francisco is picking Barrios here to win tonight. He's going with Barrios on points. Yeah, he's too uncertain with Keith Thurman. He thinks that if he's in good form, he wins, but we don't know. You know, he's been out of the ring for a couple of years, so, you know, we don't know. But listen, Laurie, we're going to lock it off here. Big up to everybody in the chat, man. A lot of people in the building. Hit the like button on the way out, man. Share the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're almost at that 1K mark, man. So big up to all of you guys. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Big up to everybody as well who came on and left their opinions for FANTALK. Do you know what I mean? It was great. So shout out to all of you lot. We'll get some post-fight reaction tomorrow for Keith Thurman and Mario Barrios. If you guys are online, come and join me. And Laurie, if you're around, to come and join me as well, always feel free. And yeah, man, have a good evening. Laurie, you going to have a little quick kip before that fight, or what are you going to do?
Yeah, I'm going to try and stay up for it. If not, I'll record it and watch it. I'm looking forward to that fight, man. It's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a good fight, man, because it's intriguing. I mean, Thurman's been out the ring for so long. Has he slipped? How far has he slipped? Can Barrios bridge that gap? I mean, apparently Barrios was asking for bigger gloves, 10-ounce gloves, which surprised me because welterweight is 8-ounce gloves. That's been the tradition. Why are you asking for bigger gloves? So he's probably a bit wary of Thurman's power. I think Thurman's power will eventually bail him out of the fact that Barrios does have a high output. And I think Barrios will win some rounds tonight. But I think that Thurman's strength and power might be, and his know-how, you know, his experience, might get him over the line in what will be a very competitive fight. He might even get a late stoppage. But I expect it to be a good fight. It's going to be a better fight than the one we saw tonight. You know.
Agree, man. But yeah, big up to everyone, man. We're out of here. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys, and we'll catch you on the next one, man. Peace out to everybody.